What's up, man? How you doing?
Good morning.
You're looking great as always.
Thanks, brother.
But cool.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I'm going to share my screen. We'll jump into this. We're going to keep it 30 minutes, super short. And so here's really how simple this is, okay? Everything in the deal that you're about to structure goes on the spreadsheet, no matter what, okay? What is best is to assume that the person you're going to go to can't do it themselves, okay? But they're likely going to. So, for example, my co-packer does all this stuff in yellow, okay? All of it. However, it puts me in a not position of power to negotiate a good cost if I don't understand all these things separately before I get on the phone with him. Make sense? Number one,
Yeah.
I don't know that he does all these things. Number one. Number two, I would rather call him and say, hey, how far are you behind on projects right now? Could you take on new clients? And he's likely going to say, yeah, we can take on clients. What do you have? And so I told him, well, I've got 2-ounce bottles. I would be looking to basically bring them in, and I need about 120,000 a month. And so then he says, okay, yeah, we can do that. Maybe he has the machines, maybe he doesn't. So I honestly would want to know the machine cost for the line, the labor rate down to the minute. How many bottles per minute can they do? I want to know the cost of my bottles. I want to know the cost of my lid. I want to know cost of product going in it. I want to know the logistics to move all the pieces, because I guarantee he doesn't do the injection molding of the plastic at his facility, right? Or whatever the product is. And so I want to know all that. Even when I call the bottler to get the plastic, I want to know their entire cost too. So I want to know how much of oil goes into a bottle of plastic, like literally everything in the blockchain, because it puts you in a position of power for negotiation. One. And two, which is more important, is the person you're talking to, when you literally tell them, look, I know right now oil's trading at $71. I know that you can get, out of a 55-gallon barrel, which is what it's traded in. I know that you can get roughly 52,000 2-ounce bottles. I know, and so literally if you break down the cost for them, they understand. But then they understand that you're in business too, and they're in business. And so it's all about making money on the business process. Make sense? Okay. So that's
Yeah.
number one, is first, before I ever do any deal or pick up the phone, I know everything. And literally you can find everything on the internet, everything from the first principle all the way to the finished good. Make sense?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt
Go
and
ahead.
cause more time, but when we're translating this to something like hay or syrup or anything like that, would we be taking the cost from where it's already been produced, like from the farmer, and like what they usually charge or what they usually get for their product?
So,
Or are we diving deeper beyond that and it's costing to them to
yep.
produce it?
So deeper beyond that. Okay. So the most powerful tool in the American, I'd say honestly worldwide, but the most powerful tool that exists is the first blockchain ever created. Okay. It's literally called the Code of Federal Regulations. Everything on there. Let's say that you don't have a contract with somebody and you end up in court with a customer that didn't pay. The lawyer goes back to the code, or the judge goes back to the Code of Federal Regulations. It's the very first blockchain known to man. And literally what the blockchain says is there's never more than 2 parties in a deal, ever. There's the person who owns the company and the person that picks up the product, meaning the trucker. So own the company, trucker, right? In the entire blockchain from the time it comes out of the ground. So let's say you're on site at a mine, a mineral, or a farm. If the farmer's hired a guy to pick the fruit, guess who owns the product until it changes hands? The guy that picked the fruit. So farmer grew the seed, he put the implements on. All those were one-to-one transactions, okay? There's no such thing as a multi-party transaction. It doesn't exist, okay? So what happens is whoever picked it off the tree, he might go put it into a box, and somebody else might come pick up that box, okay? But literally in the Code of Federal Regulations, it says person in hand with the product is the person in control. So if the farmer on credit, so just so you know, American credit is actually a bump against, it's called a contract against a contract. So if the truck gave the farmer credit, let's say 30 days credit, if he goes and he delivers that good, as soon as it's in his hand, as soon as he delivers that good and that credit starts, he's actually gone against the Code of Federal Regulations, which is okay. So the contract in hand is the contract, as long as it's signed by both parties, is the contract that supersedes everything else. Make sense? So
Okay.
trucker delivers to the guy any part, any piece. Okay. The trucker literally can say he can get there and he can notice something going on in the parking lot and he can say, hey, I'm sorry, I feel weird about this one. I'm not going to unload until you pay me. And he has every right to do that. Make sense?
Yeah.
So
because he holds the contract.
Even if they had a contract beforehand on a rate con, like he can hold the product until he gets paid, but it can't be different than the price that he quoted the customer unless there's a reason that was already in the contract as to why it's different. So like, for example, in containers, I show up with a container on a truck. I get there and the person tells me, oh yeah, it's behind here in this field 2 miles. Can you follow me down the road? It's against contract. So I had terms called $95 an hour off pavement. That's what it cost. And so literally the drivers would pull it out of their little notebook. They'd have them sign again, and then they'd follow them off payment. On there, it had a little clause. If I get stuck, you're paying for the tow charges. Make sense? And so that's just how you protect the contract in the process of flow. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So literally what we're going to do is we're going to do hay, alfalfa. I think that'd be a good one for us. It's a general product. All of our animals eat it, from gerbils all the way up to birds and cows and camels and everything in between. I personally shipped it all over the world myself, and it's heavily traded. So it'll be a good one for us to break down. Okay. Now, colors are very important when you do a blockchain. Okay.
All right.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out of the first thing, and over here, I'm going to talk about the list of the blockchain of alfalfa very first. Okay. So we're just going to write down all the things that happen in that blockchain. Okay. So the very first thing that happens in that blockchain is land. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the things. I'm going to list them all out, but most of this stuff is already done by people at the local, state, high school, or college that you literally could go pull up the college and it will tell you what the cost for water is, what the cost for seed is, what the cost for land is, what the average has been for the last 20 years. Like, it's all on the internet, all of it. So, but I'm just going to blockchain it real quick. So we have land, then we have seed, we have water, probably pivot. Okay. We then have inputs. One other thing. In blockchain, every single one of these has utility, okay, utility and capacity. Every single one. So utility is the actual physical product. Capacity is the ability to fulfill the product. Okay. So we know that land had a real estate agent. We understand that. Or it came from inheritance. We understand that. We know that seed was picked before from somewhere else and has to be put in the ground. So that's the capacity. Makes sense. We know that water's capacity when they put in the pivot or they buy shares, everything else. So I just put
What's the pivot? Products.
What's that?
What's the pivot?
So a pivot, it's like a water pivot, like a sprinkler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool. Okay. So inputs is going to be like fertilizer into that product. Okay. Yep. Then we have the farm equipment to cut it. Okay. And then we have, from the time that it's grown, so it's grown over things, we put the implements in, we have the equipment to cut it. We then need the strings to bell it. We then need the sleeve. If it's big round bells, we need the sleeve to protect or cover.
To wrap it, yeah.
Yep. If it's not big round bells, then we need the still structure.
Yeah,
the under, roof. Right? Then we need the forklift to load it, or lots of people use skidsters, I know, or a big
or a spear, tractor, whatever.
Yeah. Okay. So then we need so we got the forklift to load it, and it's okay if you think of some too that I've missed. I'm okay with that. So then we need the trucking to market. Okay.
Fuel and
good.
That's all kind of included in this, right?
Fuel needs, and it's probably somewhere up there, anyways. So fuel. What else?
Fuel is going to be, with the forklift too, and the farm equipment to harvest.
Yep.
Or is that kind of included in that part of the blockchain?
It is. So here's the cool part, right? So you do not need money to make money in America, other than about $1,000 to start up your business. Have the right proper paperwork. So it's literally the 8 things to start a business. You need a business name. I recommend that you think of one that's important to you, your family, and you need one for every deal. So this is called a special purpose vehicle process. Like, people should own a blockchain and they should put a business around every separate one they have for the purpose of protection, that your other things don't impede on it. That's what farmers do. They've done it from from the dawn of time. It's crazy. So I love working with farmers because they're so smart, and they literally will have 50 different things they do, but there's a business around every one of them, and it protects them. So that one thing doesn't hurt them and take out the whole family farm, which is everything that they need to survive, right? So
yeah.
So the business. Oh, so the business. Okay. So business name, number one. Number two is a domain name that matches your business name. You might have to go back to number one and change it if you're not comfortable using .us, .io, or something else. Okay. So just be amenable. People click on links these days. .com doesn't really matter. They don't search by .com anymore. So business name, domain. Then you need state registration with your corporate commerce, which is usually 35. So domain's usually $1 to $11 for the year to register it. When people register it, they should get an email and no website builder and no logo yet. Okay, none of that. It's just costly. Doesn't need it. Okay, so then state, corporate commission, IRS. So you need your EIN. You call your EIN. You get your EIN. Then you need. Usually, what will happen is at this time, it'll automatically print an articles of organization for you. Your bank will likely require an operating agreement before you get the bank account. Then you need the bank account. With all of these things, you literally now are in a position that you can do business in America right now. Okay, and so that's all the cost your business should have, in my opinion. And then the time that you put into it. That's it. Now, the reason I listed these out and the reason I'm talking about that is because everything that is a utility in a blockchain, somebody makes money by selling you that utility, somebody, right? So you should be able to go to these people, all of them, and say, hey, this is who I am. This is how long I've been in business. Here's who my partners are. We will do a contract with you for now to 3 years, depending on what type of rate you get. And I'm going to get a loan against it. So I need to know what the appraisal value is for today's price at market, so I can go get a loan to value against my input. Make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Now, here's where you don't need the money part and what's important. So most of these people are going to say, okay, great, no problem. We can do that, but you haven't been in business that long. You haven't been in business, 20 years. So again, I own all these other businesses that sit on my balance sheet. So I have been in business longer than 20 years, but I'm adding this business as a sector. Yep, it's a new business. Or you can go buy a shell company if you chose to, okay? So in this blockchain, I would add that here, but it's not necessary, just so you know, okay? I'm gonna put it here, but it's not necessary. I actually don't like shell companies, but for the purpose of cost, I get why people use them, okay? So next, you have the capacity to fulfill all these things. So again, let's say that it's my favorite thing to do. So I go to people with lots of money that have these things already. It's what they do in their everyday business. And then I say to them, hey, I want to do what's called it's the best way to do it in real estate. I want to do what's called a JV stack in a deal. Would you be interested? And they're like, okay, well, what's a JV stack? I literally give them, here's everything that's in the blockchain, all the utility that I need to go to market, and all of the capacity to fulfill the contract, okay? Then I literally take this contract that I've already gotten before I go to them with this, and I say, here's a contract for 4,000 metric tons of premium number 2 to be exported to Dubai or to China, so it won't impede against your business currently. And if I can fulfill this contract at this rate, even though your portion of the land is like $1.04 for a pound of alfalfa seeds, your water is $160 for an acre foot per year. Your pivot costs you $32,000. You might have to put in an extra pivot to fill my contract, but it's okay. My cousin owns that company. We're okay. The farm equipment from John Deere, they'll give me a loan as long as I always buy my farm equipment from them, always get the maintenance from them, and then always buy the fertilizer from them. They'll do all that. So I literally go to the person after I have the contract. This contract's the most important thing you can get. Then you go to everybody that's on the utility chain, okay? And you literally say, hey, would you like to be partners on the deal? And quite frankly, just so you know, I offer every single person on the utility to be a partner, everyone. And here's what you get out of it, okay? So I could pay you now for exactly what the market cost is that you'd sell it to me for anyways. Or if I take all these inputs together, mix them up in a giant bowl and sell them to market, it's worth more, wouldn't you say? Answer is always yes. And it's usually the ones that I focus on, it's at least a 5X. A 5X by putting all the ingredients together in the bowl, mixing it together and going to market. However, I don't need to make 5X. I need to make 2X. I'm happy with that. So I offer to the partners in the JV stack the other 3X on the money. And then I do a contract with them, which is called a letter of interest to contract. Okay. And then what happens is they literally write a letter of interest that says, I'm putting up this into the JV partnership as collateral, and it's what my utility is to the relationship. Here's what my cost now would be. In the event that, and I own the risk right against this cost of this product. I own that risk right. In the event that in the next 12 months, we complete this deal, here's what the 3X that I'm going to get on my money by putting this up now would be. And so literally people do this. And now I have all the collateral to go to a bank and say, hey, here's all the partners, key partners on my executive deck that are already on board with me. Here's all of our competitors. Here's what our SWOT is. Here's everything else. Hey, I need a loan. If they say no, they likely roll me up to somebody like Benjamin Gordon on LinkedIn that you see sometime at BG Capital, or they'll roll me up to a third-party bank group like Crew Capital or a family fund or something like that, because it's against greater risk than the bank. Banks usually don't lend credit to middle market people unless you've been in business for 2 to 5 years and you do $2 million in margin a year for 2 consecutive years. They don't lend you money. So it's likely that I'll go to a bank still to build my relationship and tell them what I have going on, because they're going to see the money flowing through the account anyways. But then they'll send me out to a merchant bank or a mid-level bank or a capital bank, and that's where you'll likely get the money for your deal. And that person comes in on the blockchain, okay? Currency to actually get a deal greased is what I call it. Currency on a deal actually, so here's the thing, right? So in crypto, since you understand a little bit with your roommate, in crypto, there's something called liquidity pools, okay? So everyday people think liquidity pools are just crypto. No. A liquidity pool is taking the blockchain crypto and bringing in as much blended assets, other cryptos, physical goods, finance contracts, futures, commodities, bringing it into a pool, and then they can leverage the pool at market. So what happens is how they get people in the pool is they offer something called annual yield percentage, okay? The annual yield percentage on this deal, so on my bottles deal, my annual yield percentage was 78.5%. Okay, that's high. Now, why can I do that? Because I only need the family's money or the person that's coming in to buy the blockchain's money for 30 days, maybe 60, to grease the wheels. Once the wheels are greased, great, I'll gladly pay you probably 4 months worth of profit margin up front on those 2 months, but I no longer need you. I can go and run my business because there's cash flow going in that one segment of business all day long, okay? So the biggest thing that I get as a question, as a sidebar, is I'll talk to people that are not familiar with everyday business all the time. And they'll be like, Aaron, if it's so good, why don't you just do it? Here's the thing is, I'd rather teach you how to do it. Like, honestly, I'd rather teach you how to do it and protect my businesses and all my companies by wrapping up companies around them and protecting them. And so to me, it's a numbers game, because the first person like you or Owen is so smart. The first person, we did this for 2.5 hours. So that's why I know I can keep it down to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Owen literally looked at this and he's like, oh my gosh, like, Aaron, when we start putting this stuff out on marketing and we literally teach it live, open, everybody's going to light up and it'll be like, oh my gosh. And so here's the most powerful part. Okay. So how do I make money in this deal? So I literally am going to blockchain the finance, which the finance is a product. It's a utility. The money is a utility. Okay. So I'm going to blockchain the utility. So I'm going to put that down here. Okay.
Yep.
So money into the deal.
Yeah, we were talking about this last night and how it's literally the liquidity pool is just an exchange of value, the token.
Exactly. Yep. And so, and I love how you said token, because crypto is the blockchain of the whole deal, in my opinion. The token is and why I call it a token is because it's a utility. The token is a utility, a physical good against a unit of measure. And so in my case, on this bottles deal, for example, the token represents 2 ounces of oil in the finished product. That's what the token is.
Yeah, I was thinking about it last night. Like, one container of any particular good is like me sending you a coin of Ethereum or Bitcoin.
Exactly.
It's like, hey, we're just taking it from farm to table. There's the exchange of value.
Exactly. However, it's very important. Okay. So there are multiple types of tokens in the transaction and so utility to me is token, just so you know. Okay. There are multiple types of tokens in the exchange, but all of those tokens roll up to your master token. Okay. So people are like, well, how come there's Bitcoin Lite and there's Bitcoin this and there's Bitcoin that? Now, remember, money is a utility. Okay. So they started with Bitcoin. Bitcoin got so big, just like the US dollar, by the way. The US dollar existed as the US dollar first. And then as it started to grow, they realized they needed fractional percentages that rolled up to the dollar. If you think about the dollar as an asset, okay, what did the dollar used to say? This is good for one silver note. They call it silverbacks. This is good for one gold, whatever. They called it goldbacks. It literally, the utility, so the currency, the cash, was the way to move the utility. And so it was good one for one. Same thing in this situation. No matter what you produce as a business, that business, whatever that business's end product is, okay, that end product becomes the token of master, okay? All the little pieces that flow into making that one product are the derivatives that all have their own little coins that flow into that, but they're fractions of the larger coin. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep.
so let's say now that you're an ocean ship company, okay? So we haven't put ocean in here yet. So we're gonna export it, okay? So we're gonna put it inside of a container, okay? So the container is a bigger fraction of little pieces. However, the boat actually blends all of our tokens in the whole world and puts 20,000 of them on a boat and sends them across the ocean, okay? The boat, that boat is actually one token. That big A boat is one token, okay?
One fat token.
And so what's cool about it is, if you look at banking portfolios, the three things that all banks have, they're called lending desks, and those three things are marine, airplanes, and trains, okay? It's because it's what moves every one of the blockchains in the world. So you'll always see people with massive desks in those three areas. Make sense? Okay, so what we're gonna do real quick, and we got about 10 minutes. So I'm gonna now put money next to all these. Okay, you're up in Vermont, right?
Yep.
So you should go Google in Vermont the average land cost for farmland in your area, okay? I'm gonna pull it up on here so people can see we do it too, okay? Let's see here. Oh, by the way, you're gonna need one of these reseller certificates, just so you know, because sometimes you take the position of buy, and so I'll send you here so you have that, and Owen's gonna need it as well. So, but I'm just gonna go in here into Google, and I'm gonna put the cost to produce alpha Vermont. And I'm going to look for, okay, 10 acres of organic meadow, Brandon currently in alfalfa, awesome. Roughly 12 to 15 tons per year. So they are only getting a 2-for-1, I think, then probably. What I love is this is a .gov site. So this is actually a roll-up to Agricultural 7, which is what it's called. And so I love that. And it's just coming in through that. And so it'll probably tell us some costs in here since it's a gov, I'm thinking. So let's just skim through it real quick. Year one, year two, no. What a great response. I love it. Okay, let's see here. I'll probably find that back here. So I'm just going to go back here. I like Google because they're really good at pulling up my exact high level in here, if that makes sense. So, okay, cool. I love this. State of Vermont produces 4.16 tons per acre. Okay, so we need to write that down in our spreadsheet. Okay, so we're going to put 4.16 tons per acre. I'm going to go back here now, and let's see here. It'll probably tell me right here all of it. Let's go in here and look. Oh, yeah, look at that. Love it. Everything you need right there.
Look at that.
That's awesome. Cows, farms, production, milk, hay.
County by county.
Yep.
Maple syrup. Look at that.
I know, right? Man, Vermont's got some good techies up there. That's for sure. Okay, so planted all-purpose acres, 5,000 for test. Harvested, 5,000, 45,000, good numbers. Okay, production, 187,000 tons dry basis. Okay, interesting. So not watered on this one probably. Oh, no. That actually means the content of when they measure it, the percentage of allowance is probably under a certain number. That's where they come up with. Okay, and then production dollars is 37,400,000. Now, here's the thing in a blockchain, just so you know, the government's good at this stuff already. The government knows how much you produced, even if you don't report to pay your taxes. And the way that they know it is by these averages. And so they literally, the county assessor literally takes a number based on these numbers, and they get the numbers from JR Simplot, from all the people that sell implements, how much water is being used, everything. And it just flows into a blockchain. They're the best at it. So, just so you know. Okay, so we are going to go.
They already got it figured out.
What's that?
They already have it figured out.
Yeah, I also love that. Look, it says July. Oh no, as of July 22nd, 2021, survey data. So this is a real-time push on data, which is cool. Although it says it's a 2017 census, I don't know which one to trust. Honestly, I honestly don't think they do it every day. But hey, you know, that's okay.
Now,
So,
for example, on this price per unit, is that a wholesale, like a wholesale number?
Yes, likely.
Likely, yeah, because the reason I asked is because like a retail sale of maple syrup is like $52 a gallon.
Are you looking at maple syrup somewhere?
Yeah, it's right below the haylage and alfalfa.
Oh, that's so funny. That was awesome. Okay, $27 a gallon is what it's saying. Oh yeah, I definitely would say
retail. I know it goes for like 50 plus.
Oh yeah, I'd say it's definitely wholesale. I love that this is in here. So you need to take this. I'll take this and put it in your chat. That's so funny to me. You're like, yeah, it's right there. It's so awesome. Okay, let's see here. Where's my chat in here? Chat. Hey, if your guy gets here, let me know. One of my guys, Randy. I'm gonna show him. Hello. Dude, I love this guy.
Hey,
I love this guy more than anything. He will tell 30 people a day consistently. New people a day. Have I told you that I loved you? And it just opens up a flood of like cool things that happen.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
Hey, have I told you I love your purse?
Yeah, exactly. So okay. Yeah, if your guy gets you, let me know, okay? All right.
Your shoes, whatever. You probably don't have a purse.
Yeah, right. So let's look at the value dollars. Can you do 37,400,000? We'll just do that divided by 187,000. So 37 million. So that's a state level.
37,100,000.
400,000 divided by 187,000 equals
200.
Equals what?
200.
200. Okay, that's 200 a ton is what they're averaging for sales out of that market. Okay. And so now we'd want to know what the seed cost of alfalfa is up there. Seed cost of alfalfa per pound. Per pound bulk. Okay, $1 to $3. Okay. Okay, I can see some 4 down here, Wisconsin EDU. Let's see how recent this was. In Wisconsin, I know we could go pull up Vermont, but let's look and see how recent this article was, if there's a number on here. 5 years, do we see a year? 99 to 89, that was a long, long time ago, but I don't think they're using that. But I'll just go up here and let's put Vermont. Now, I will tell you, since you're in Vermont, you have an advantage that most people don't. And that is you should do this for the cost if it was done in the US. You should also do it out of Canada and see if there's a variance, because I make a lot of money on cross-border because I'll give you an example. One of the coolest deals I ever did was, well, actually, quite frankly, in so many things, but international people buy by the metric ton. Well, in the US, they sell by the short ton. So there's an extra 200 pounds that somebody's going to win on if you do it right.
Also, right across the border,
yep.
Quebec is a huge agricultural.
I love it. Okay, so I see right here this group, Granite Seed, at $1.50, but that was 2018. If I didn't have a 2021 price, what I could do is I could go in and type in what's called the CAGR, okay, compounding annual growth rate. So we'll just do it real quick. A CAGR of alpha seed, 6.5%. Okay, so we're going to come over here. Also 750.1 million. We're going to need that later for our executive summary. So I'm going to put in here 750.1 million. Okay, that's the market cap.
It's unstable, apparently. What the heck?
What's that?
Sorry, I just had a little glitch there. My internet connection got unstable. It seems to be okay now.
Okay, cool. Okay,
so I cut out there for about 30 seconds.
Alfalfa in here, just so you know, so it's there. And then the CAGR is 6.5%. That's the compounding annual growth rate. Okay, that'll go on our executive summary later when we're all done with our blockchain and we do our presentation. Make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
So then you would want to look at the inflation rate for the PDI, and then it would tell you, because right now it's telling us it's $1.50 for the seed, but you have to buy in 100-pound bags in order to get it from Granite Seed. Okay. So now we're going to go and look in here real quick. Let's look in here, the acre foot cost.
What is the CAGR? What's that stand for? I might have missed it because I got cut out.
CAGR is compounding annual growth rate.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Usually your CAGR will directly affect supply and demand percentages, which go against your index, basically. And so we'll be able to forecast if we can't find it on the internet, because there are some things that are paid. For example, IBS Worldwide makes billions of dollars by selling data and information. And so they know where to go get it, but we don't. And where they get it is from the banks, but we don't. And I don't want to spend the money, so I can just work it backwards into the number and get a really good average or estimate in order to put a deal flow together. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So acre cost of water, oops, we want to do in Vermont or wherever you're going to be buying from. Okay.
What about something as simple as water, like just fresh spring water?
You mean in doing a blockchain for it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it sells like
might be a lot simpler because it's literally water.
Yeah, sort of a lot simpler. It is a lot simpler, but it's crazy. There's somebody who has a hold on the market though, pretty good, just so you know. So Crystal Geyser, which they bought out CG Roxanne, they bought out Nestle, then Nestle bought out everybody. It's crazy. And so water is good, like spring fed, but I like to call it a gimmick. And here's why. Water's water. Yeah, there might be different minerals traced in that water, but the only way you can compete with Nestle and the big boys is literally if you package it differently, or you have amazing marketing, like with a video. And here's what's crazy. Adil at Unify, who I introduced you to this morning, best marketing I've ever seen, dude. Unreal. Like literally, you will want to buy in 30 seconds, whatever it is, just to support that cause, that nonprofit that they're selling it for. So how he does it is they sell the product, but let's say you buy 3 months worth, like on Amazon, they give you 15% back. Instead of giving you 15% back, if you buy 3 months, it goes to a nonprofit. And so he's like the big daddy of the nonprofits, and all the little nonprofits before they're 3 years old and can go get money from the big guys, they go through Unify, and Unify gives all these smaller nonprofits money while they're getting up and going, And so it's really cool how it all works. But 1.7 million people meditated in 2016, broke a world record. He did it with Deepak Chopra. And the next year in Syria, they stopped the war. It's crazy, dude. So talk about like aligned, Okay, so we did water. We were looking for water. We better stay on here. $10 an acre foot. I like that. Well, that's in Florida, maybe. Okay, we got to look. Vermont, $48 an acre foot. No, 1.11 per thousand cubic. Oh yeah, $48 an acre foot. Okay, so we're gonna put that in here. $48. Okay, the pivot. Acre, Vermont cost. Okay, so 160 acre pivot example, estimating annual irrigation. Okay, we could look at that too, but we just want to see the cost of that pivot. So let's go up here.
Honestly, I mean,
okay,
these are probably, they're not as common in Vermont.
Oh, they're not? Just because it rains a lot?
And because it's so like hilly, if you will.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't even know. I can't think of one off the top of my head that I've seen.
Yeah, because it's hilly. Okay, cool. So maybe, do you see the roller pivots though, where they still roll the sprinklers up and down the hill and they're just straight? Do you see those?
Honestly, a lot of them will be
drip systems or irrigated.
Some of them, I know of one farmer that has them irrigated. Yeah, like they're underground.
Is it underground irrigated, or is it a PVC pipe at the top of the hill? They pull the water gate, it goes down the water, and then it floods out down the field. Do you know?
Well, that's for what I'm referring to is actually, now that I say it, manure, not water. Honestly, anything that's fertilizer or anything like that, I think because it rains so much, there's not much pivot systems, but like there might be, like we're talking about with like the fertilizer, Like they
Okay,
spray
great.
that,
All
but
right,
they're
so
kind
let's
of
go put
driving that machine through.
yeah. So let's go put alfalfa NPK cost per acre Vermont. And then we're going to go all here. Okay, so 150 pounds of N per acre. That's what they're saying up here at UVM EDU. So that's good.
Yep.
Okay, so that's nitrogen. Nitrogen comes mostly from animals. So we're looking at gypsum cost up there. And then we would need sulfur. Okay, $2,155 a year plus fertilizer key market. Nitrogen and phosphate. Okay, so let's go with 2,155. I think that's actually really high, by the way. That might be retail. Either that or that company doesn't know what they're doing, quite honestly. Because, okay, so here, I'll just do it. So gypsum is $56 delivered max per acre. And you need three tons, but that usually not for alfalfa, just 2. But it rains a lot up there, so you might not need it as much. Potash was 151, and you only need like 800 pounds of it, so probably like $60. Manure comes in free, but the cost to fertilize an ag and pull it over, and so there's going to be a cost for trucking there. So we're probably going to be at like, I'm estimating, so we'll have to look at this later. I don't like estimating either, so we'll look at that. I'll probably 108 per acre. Okay. Oh, by the way, let's go up here real quick and drop in acre and then tons. Okay. You want to keep your units. You want to keep your units together. Okay. And the reason you do, I have to get onto another call here in a minute. So my day's back to back. So
yeah.
By the way, we'll probably edit out some of this piece before we push it out, just so you know, if you want to send it to me when you're all done.
Okay.
Randy, okay, I got to get on with Connie in 5 minutes. So, okay. So farm equipment. Okay. So here's one thing I would do. So let's say if you looked up the farm equipment that you need, so you need a, I can't remember what kind of baler it's called. It's called like a Ballin baler system. So if you looked up the Ballin baler system, which is the most commonly used for alfalfa push, you looked up the a tractor, John Deere tractor, you're probably going to need a fair size one, and you got the cost of all those things. Okay, then we put it in here, and then what we do on this is we actually take the depreciated asset years, which is 5, and we actually average it per acre per ton based on the averages of what it would get, and then it literally becomes a part of a cost per acre per ton as you produce.
Yeah, I was wondering what that kind of units that would break down into.
Yep, and so you do it just like that, and it becomes per acre per tons over the 5-year depreciation, which is what the government gives us on equipment, anyways. Makes sense. And so, yeah. And then sleeve and all this stuff. Then what's left over on top that gives you the 5x multiple. And so I'll run through all that and break it down. We can check your model after we're done, but. So you'll do this for the other products you do. So let's say that it was juice, right? So you'd need to know the cost of the bottle. You need to know the cost of the lid. You need to know the cost to put the label on the bottle. You need the cost to buy the machine that puts the juice inside of it automatically. You need the cost of the fruit. You need the cost of the seed of the fruit. You see what I'm saying? And so you just cost everything in the blockchain. So no matter what it is, and then literally you can make money participating in any piece of these things. Make sense? You literally could go to John Deere or Vermeer or somebody like that and say, hey, can I sell tractors for you? And I'll bring you all my tractor deals. You could then go and do these deals all day long and make money on your tractor deals. And so that's when I say, like, I like to do it this way, because when I love working with everybody. I'm okay if I just bring the whole deal together and I make 15%. I just bring everybody together. I don't make money on any of these pieces or the market or the 5X, none of that. I just get 15% roll into the deal. And that's why when you blockchain tokenize units and you get 15% on the deal, it's when crypto gets exciting. Like, we have all these kids that are going broke and killing themselves because they don't understand fear of missing out and in crypto markets. And that's not where the money is. If we taught them all to do this through Owen's page and your page and everything else, we taught them all how to do this, they wouldn't worry about where money comes from every day. They'd understand basic business trade that's been around for millions of years, and they'd get 15% for everything they tokenize and bring to the blockchain. Dude, change of mental mind state. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's what crypto really does.
Exactly. Yep. So, and then honestly, it would also make it so it's not so volatile, because everybody'd understand what it did, and they wouldn't push in and push out every time. You'd have so many liquidity pools that made sense all of a sudden, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on with Connie.
Yep.
Send me this recording; it'd be awesome. And then we did hit record, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool, awesome. Send me this recording. We'll cut it up, and then let's finish one on Hey Alfalfa. I'll send you this real quick as I jump off here, so you have it in email, and then we'll jump back on and go through and check numbers. Cool?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Drew. Talk to you later.